All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Chiseled Adonis post-game analysis show for week 1 of your 2019 NFL season. If you didn't know who I was, I'm the damn host of the show, the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the Chiseled Adonis. Let's break down exactly what happened throughout week 1. There was a ton of good games, there were some bad games, and there was a ton of bad decisions, bad coaching, terrible execution. But let's start from the beginning. Kickoff game. NFC North battle out there in the Windy City where the Chicago Bears hosted the Green Bay Packers, and the Green Bay Packers walked out with the W 10-3. Let's first say this. The Bears went out and played probably one of the worst offensive scheme games I have seen in quite some time. From their perspective, you are the Chicago Bears. Mitchell Trubisky is your quarterback. You don't throw the ball 45 times with Mitchell Trubisky. It makes no sense. There was a ton of different drop passes that was happening throughout the game. But both defenses played absolutely magnificent. For the Chicago Bears, they were giving back their offense the ball in great field position. They stopped any sort of momentum Aaron Rodgers had outside of that beautiful pass that he had down the field to, I believe it was Scantling, and then getting Jimmy Graham into the end zone. Outside of that, the Packers did nothing offensively. The Bears defense did nothing but all of their job. They did a sensational job, only to see the Bears only squander up 3 points. Terrible. There's no reason why Mitchell Trubisky should be throwing the ball 45 times. You brought up David Montgomery knowing that you're going to have this man run the rock. Hand him the ball. There's no reason why he shouldn't have more than 15 carries on this game. What was the purpose of not having him run the ball? It made no sense. I understand trying to, stretch the field with Allen Robinson, but that ain't your game. All right, especially when the vertical pass ain't working at this point. Try to run the ball. Establish the run. Green Bay has never been known as this run-stopping defense. Run the damn ball. You cost yourself offensively. Now, for the Packers, I was extremely impressed by their defense. Extremely impressed. Now, you're not going against this, powerhouse offense, but still, they were making tackles. They weren't missing tackles. They were covering their butts off, and they stopped the damn run. Sensational job. Offensively, they were kind of ticky-tacky, but you're going against a very, very good defense. You're going against a secondary that has 2 All-Pros in Kyle Fuller and Eddie Jackson. You got a ridiculous amount of power up front. You had a Hicks that was a Pro Bowler. You had Khalil Mack up there, who's no slouch. Raquan Smith was making tackles left and right. Trevathan was making tackles left and right. And still, the Packers did just enough to walk away with the W. So, congrats to them. If you're the Bears, you got to fix that offensive scheme. Run the damn ball some more. Run it some more. Okay? Run the damn ball. Next, the Rams taking on the Panthers. We're moving on to the Sunday game. This game impressed me. I was thoroughly impressed from what I saw from the Panthers. They just did not have enough. Christian McCaffrey shows why he is one of the better backs in the league. Yet again, offensive line did not do too well for me. Cam was on his back. He was running for his life. He actually played a very good game, but the Rams offensively got it done. They was able to find themselves into the end zone. Defensively, they did very well for the most part. The offense of the Panthers, they were able to overcome, the strength of the linebackers, the strength of the defensive line of the Rams in order to go out and, put up some points, but it just wasn't enough. They ran out of time. Honestly, in my opinion, had there been another 5 minutes on the clock, I think the Panthers would have been able to walk away with the W. The Rams escaped this game with a win. Now, I was impressed to see the backup of Todd Gurley go out there, find his way into the end zone. What was his name? Malcolm Brown. He did an all right job. I'm assuming the tendonitis is still hurting Gurley, or he's not truly in football shape yet. He didn't get a lot of carries, or at least a number of carries I thought he would get, so that was very interesting. So we'll see in coming days how this all plays out. Jared Goff went out there and just did Jared Goff things. He didn't really do anything too special, but it was just enough to walk away with the W. But for the Panthers, don't feel bad about this loss. You just got to regroup. Start a little bit faster, because the first half was somewhat slow, but when they started getting rolling, your eyebrows started to go a little bit through your hairline, like, wait a minute, what's going on over here? I think they could, get an upset against the reigning NFC champions. But we'll see how things play out. But good win for the Rams. They done won 30-27. Then we had the Titans taking on the Browns. The Titans absolutely rubbed their nutsack all over the Browns. People thought they was going to take the Browns to the Super Bowl. The only Super Bowl the Browns are going to is the toilet. All right? That's a pun on the Browns, but we ain't talking about that right now. Baker Mayfield Chef Baker at the Cleveland Pastry Shop. 3 interceptions back to back to back. I think the third one, there was a drive in between. But if not, back to back to back. I thought Drake was singing for a second. I thought he was rapping. He don't sing. But then again, he does sing. What the hell are we talking about right now? OBJ going to the field with the damn 300K plus watch. What are you doing? Just when you thought this man could not be any more of a distraction, he goes up there and prioritizes himself over the team. Now, I understand people talk, well, you want to go to the field, you want to be flossing, you want to look good, all this other stuff. I get it. However, you know who you are, you know how you're perceived, you know the sort of reaction this is going to get, and yet you still go through with it. I understand being yourself 110%, but how did the man respond once, you know, the media came after him for wearing the watch? He said, well, if it hadn't been anybody else, they wouldn't be saying anything. Great answer, buddy. Great answer. What does that show? Your selfishness. It shows your selfishness. If you know they're going to come after you, what's the purpose of wearing it? What is the purpose? You might as well have just answered, hey, I was wearing the watch beforehand. I figured I'd wear it on the field. It didn't really help in my performance. It probably wouldn't have helped if I didn't have it on. Bottom line, I'm probably going to wear it again. That's it. It got nothing to do with the game. But instead, you put it on yourself to say, oh, well, other people and then me. It's ridiculous. I don't like this guy's mindset. I don't get it. But for the Browns, I didn't like the way they played at all. All right, opening drive looked magnificent. Outside of that, it looked like they were trying to force Baker Mayfield on the offense. Baker's already there. He's that guy. You don't got to force him to go out there and be even more Baker than he already is. Hand the ball off to Chubb a couple more times. I didn't like the ratio of the pass to run. It made no sense. Now, for the Titans, sensational job up front. I had no clue that their offensive line would be able to block the Browns the way that they did. Since Taylor Lewin's going to be out for another 3 games, I thought that left tackle was going to be on suicide watch by halftime. Evidently, that was not the case. Might I add, the dreadlock powers was on display with Derrick Henry as well. He had himself a 75-yard catch touchdown, or I should say a screen, and he really ran for 75 yards at that. I think they should start to change the way that yards after catch works. I think for passing yards, they should really just put it to where it went from pass to catch, and the rest of it goes to the receiver. But I digress. That ain't what we talking about. The Titans defense, sensational job. The secondary, sensational job. Not a single 100-yard receiver from the Browns, no matter how many different names they got out there. They did a sensational job, and I said the Titans was going to go out there and lose. And I sincerely apologize to all the Titans fans out there. You did a hell of a job. You should be proud of your team. They went out there and they kicked ass. And more importantly, the guy who tags, the timestamps for the videos on this channel, he is a Titans fan, so big ups to you, man. You went out there, you got yourself a W. Big time win for Tennessee. Everybody's drinking some Tennessee's whiskey. All right, then the Chiefs took on the Jags, and this game was a little bit of a downer because you had Nick Foles end up, what was it, his collarbone, his clavicle, whatever the case was, he's gone for the season. But his backup, what was it, Minshew came in, he was lighting it up. But it wasn't enough to stop Kansas City's high-powered offense. They won 40-26, and this is the 22nd consecutive game in which Kansas City has scored over 25 points. Andy Reid is an offensive genius until, it matters in the playoffs. But nonetheless, Kansas City went out there, they took care of business. On the ground, Damian Williams was running all right. Through the air, Patrick Mahomes is free real estate. Sammy Watkins was rubbing his nutsack all over the Jacksonville Jaguars secondary. He was wide open on 2 different occasions. Like, come on, somebody got to cover him. Somebody got to cover him. Unfortunately, Tyreek Hill got hurt. I think he's going to be out for a couple of games. Patrick Mahomes got hurt at one point too, and he ended up limping off the field. But luckily, he's able to be back. Miles Jack got hurt for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I believe there was somebody else who might have got hurt as well outside of Foles and Miles Jack. But nonetheless, Jacksonville fought. I like the tenacity of that rookie quarterback who stepped in, Minshew. I like the way that he looked. He threw very precise. But you never know because you're playing against a defense that game planned for Nick Foles, and now you come in, nobody knows who you are, so you can go in there and light it up, or you do terrible. You really got no pressure. So very good game from him, but it just wasn't enough to overcome Kansas City. They're still looking like the same powerhouse offense they always have. Defensively, I have a little bit of concerns. But we'll see moving forward. It's only week 1. Football doesn't begin to really pick up until about week 5. You understand? You got to judge football quarterly. It can't go week by week because a team can go out there and destroy you, 59-10, and they could go out the next week and lose 44-3. But since we're talking about 59-10, let's talk about the Ravens absolutely me-tooing the Miami Dolphins. I expected the Ravens to go out there and get the W. I did not expect the thrashing that happened on this past Sunday afternoon. Good Lord, this man, Lamar Jackson, perfect. 158.3 passer rating, 5 touchdowns, could not be stopped. Hollywood, say goodbye to Hollywood, say goodbye to Hollywood. Hollywood Brown went out there, murdered the secondary. Nobody could cover. Magic ain't real. All right, they took all of the magic cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! They treated it like Weevil. They threw it off of the goddamn bridge. There was no Fitzmagic to be seen. Josh Rosen got a little bit of time, but it was far too late. I think he came in when it was like 42-7 or 42-10, whatever it was. It wasn't fair at all. At the end of the game, Miami's coach, or I should say the team for Miami, the players, they decided to say, hey, some of us want to get up out of here, man. We can't be getting smacked like this. Everybody has come to the consensus Miami will probably be the worst team in the league this year. I don't know who they can tank for. You already have a quarterback there. Fitzmagic is not the Fitzpatrick. There was no magic, so they don't get to earn that name. Fitzpatrick don't have, future quarterback written all over him because he's not Kurt Warner. He's not the graybeard. He's not one of those older quarterbacks who come into their own late bloomer sort of situation. Josh Rosen should be the future, but they don't even trust him yet. I hope I get to see him start the following game and let him take the reins. He's young, man. Give him some time to mature. Not everybody's going to step into the NFL and play like an Andrew Luck, Russell Wilson, RG3, Cam Newton, hell, Peyton Manning even struggled when he first came into the league. Give people some time to mature, man. Put Josh Rosen in the game. But outside that, Baltimore looked absolutely scary. That defense is always good, extremely stout. One of the better secondaries in the league. Them and New England, I have them both listed as the top 2 secondaries in the league. Not even as of right now. I think it's going to hold until the end of the season because they got some names, man. They balling, man. Baltimore, they're going to be a problem as long as, they don't get figured out on offense. But the way that Lamar was slinging it, they could be something scary. Next, Atlanta taking on Minnesota. And Minnesota absolutely rubbed their nutsack all over Atlanta as well. They was up 28-0 at one point, I believe, and then Atlanta scored 12 garbage time, touchdowns that didn't really matter. I'm disappointed. I thought Atlanta was going to go out there and run the football effectively. I knew they would struggle to pass, but not like this. Matt Ryan had no time. Offensive line completely let this man down. Now, I understand a lot of people they throw out questions, they throw out concerns towards the skilled players, but in this game, it was won and lost in the trenches, and they did not do their skilled players any favors in Atlanta. Now, for Minnesota, on the ground, Dalvin Cook, he went out there, he was balling. He looked sensational. Kirk family member, he was slinging it. Adam Thielen found his way into the end zone. Stephon Diggs, I'd like to see a little bit more from him. I believe he did get hurt. Correct me if I'm wrong if he's back now. I didn't really get an opportunity to get an update on him. But the secondary for Minnesota, it looks very nice. Defensively, they look back to what they were looking at in 2017. So I'm hoping they can keep that defense up. But for Atlanta, you got to regroup. You got your ass whipped. Back to the drawing board. Figure out what you need to fix and move forward. But that offensive line, it starts there. Because if you can't give Matt Ryan time, this offense goes nowhere. So they got to get it fixed up front. Sensational job for Minnesota. Good W for them. Next, the Buffalo taking on New York. The Jets taking on the Bills. The Jets came out all 5 cylinders. That defense, beautiful. You were up 16-0. Le'Veon Bell back fresh, his legs in football shape. He was cutting, breaking people's ankles. Sam Darnold looked very stout. He didn't really turn the football over. He played very, not necessarily conservative, but they had decent play calling. I wish they could have been a little bit more aggressive, but it was all right. I enjoyed the way they were playing, and then the Bills decided to turn up the heat on the Buffalo Wild Sauce, all right? They decided to turn up the heat on the Wild Wing Sauce, and here came Josh Allen, of all people. Ran his way into the end zone. Might I add, the Jets got themselves a safety as well. You can't shoot bullets with your guns on safety. But what happened with the Bills? They found a way to get down the field, kick an easy field goal, get back down the field again. Josh Allen runs his way into the end zone. Then, deep pass from Josh Allen to his man in the left-hand side, and they got into the end zone. All of a sudden, now you up 17-16, and the Jets went complete panic mode. Terrible play calling decision, and they lost the damn game. You got to learn how to finish. You got to finish the game. You got to finish the damn deal. They had all of the things in their favor, and they could not finish. If I'm the Jets, I'm feeling very disappointed because I could not finish. If I'm the Bills, I'm extremely ecstatic at the resilience that the team was able to show and come back. It was a very good game. All right, it was a very good game. But the Bills came out on top. Next, Redskins and the Eagles, same old stuff. Redskins up 17-0. They caught everybody in Philly by surprise. You're playing in Lincoln Financial Field, you're on the road, all of a sudden, here come Case Keenum slinging it. The secondary for the Eagles looked like absolute basura halfway through the game. And all of a sudden, here comes Philadelphia. In Wentz, Philadelphia, born and raised. Bam! D-Jax down the field, 51-yard touchdown. Bam! D-Jax down the field, 53-yard touchdown. Oh, over the middle, there's Alshon Jeffrey. Oh, let me throw a screen. There's a touchdown to Alshon Jeffrey. All of a sudden, it went from 17-0 to 21-20 to 29-20 because they ended up going for the two-point conversion. Doug Peterson, he's got balls of steel. Put him inside of a wheelbarrow and roll him around. This man came out and they just rolled all over the damn Redskins. Vernon Davis had a sensational touchdown to start out the game for Washington, and I'm happy for him because his grandfather had just passed away. The man's 35, 36 years old, and he's still balling in the street when he has an opportunity to truly ball. Get that man to football. However, they did not come out on top because Washington failed to finish. Josh Norman, look yourself in the mirror because you continue to get beat. You ain't had a very good season since Carolina. You peaked at that point. You get paid all this money, you gotta at least play decent at that because you keep getting beat. And it's not even like the man's getting destroyed. It'd be one or two steps, a fingertip away from the ball, maybe about 1 or 2 inches. That may start with the technique. That may be with the effort. He's got to be able to figure that out. But for Philly, resilience, man. They showed why they're going to be a powerhouse in the NFC. They started out a little bit slow, but when that train started rolling, they started running Washington all over. Because Washington may have got a touchdown at the end of the game, but that's garbage time. Game was already decided. There was nothing else you should do. I believe they scored with like 15 seconds left to play. No way you coming back after that. Although when there's a will, there's a way. But this time there was no will, there was no way. And the Philadelphia Eagles walked away with the W, 32-27. Then Colts and the Chargers. I was extremely impressed at how the Colts ended up playing. All right, I understand that offensive line was extremely, they were very good last year, but it shows that it wasn't Andrew Luck making checks at the line the same way Peyton Manning, the same way Tom Brady, the same way Big Ben was able to continue to keep themselves, protected over the years with their offensive line. This offensive line is for real because Phillip Rivers got sacked more than Jacoby Brissett did, and when Jacoby Brissett played 2 years ago, he got sacked, I believe it was top 3 in the league, and he only got sacked this past game twice. They were down 16-0. And then you ended up seeing, I believe it was 16-0. 16-0, they were down by 16 because the Chargers took a 24-6 lead. And then when they were up at that point, it was wait a minute. What's going on over here? No, 24-8. I thought it was one of those two, but whatever it was. The Colts came down the field and they were able to score back-to-back times, tied up. And if I'm the Chargers, I'm a little bit I'm conflicted with my defense because they could not close the game. Now, you did see a situation in which Adam Vinatieri, he missed an extra point. He missed a field goal. Nobody saw that coming. But then again, the man's on AARP, so what the hell do you expect? Sometimes you make him, sometimes you don't. The man's still going to the Hall of Fame. But he's got to go out there and perform. Then, the Chargers had an opportunity to go down the field and close out the game. But Malik Hooker said, absolutely not. There's the power of the dreadlocks. Allow me to intercept you with one hand, and you're not going to close out the game. And Jacoby Brissett went down the field, then he hit T.Y. Hilton, who broke a couple of tackles. Went to the end zone, forced overtime. But the luck of the draw happened to go into the favor of the Los Angeles Chargers. Austin Elkert, my Nuggets, went into the end zone. Suck my dick. Game over. Melvin Gordon sitting at home like, I'm coming back week 6. So, y'all gonna pay me? Either way, I'll play football. Austin Elkert looking kind of good right now. Maybe it wasn't the best idea to hold out. He's getting the James Conner treatment from last year. His only hope is that Austin Elkert does not continue to perform the way that he is right now. Or he's probably not gonna get paid and it's gonna look like it was all for naught. But nonetheless, Phillip Rivers and the boys happen to get that W. If I'm the Colts, I'm not feeling bad because you saw your team show some resilience and fight back into the game. And then, honestly, had they won the coin toss, who's to say that they don't go down the field and win? Because they had all of the momentum at that point. So, the Chargers may have won, but they escaped. Nonetheless, big-time W for them. Seattle Seahawks taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. I was extremely shocked at the effort that Cincinnati went out there and played with. Kudos to you guys. I apologize for speaking bad on Cincinnati. You still lost though, but John Ross finally showed why he was drafted so high. You had over 150 yards, you had 2 TDs, he was mossing people out there, utilizing his speed. Andy Dalton threw the ball 51 times. Anytime you see Andy Dalton throw the ball 51 times, you're expecting to see a ton of apple turnovers. That was not the case. The running game was non-existent for both teams outside of the Chris Carson TD. But this was magnificent job played by Cincinnati. However, it just wasn't enough. I was not impressed by the offensive line play of both of these teams. It was terrible. Terrible. You should be able to run the football against both of these guys. Either way, made no sense to me. And more importantly, you saw a ton of sacks. I think it was Cincinnati got sacked 5 times, or Seattle got sacked 4 times, or vice versa. Whatever one it was. I didn't like the way that things were getting pressure. Now, the D-lines were doing their job, but the offensive line were missing assignments. All right, there were some stunts that had to be done. There were some double teams that had to be done. Guys were missing, not sure where they were going. I don't know if it's the first game of the season jitters. Whatever it was, they looked very sloppy up front, so they got to get that fixed. But nonetheless, Seattle was able to hold on to the victory. It was very back and forth. You'd see back-to-back punts. Then you see back-to-back fumbles. Then you see back-to-back touchdowns. But Seattle just had a little bit more than Cincinnati to walk out with the W. Then Detroit and Arizona. This game, Detroit should have been able to put it away from the jump. All right, you up 24-9. Arizona comes down the field, and then, and I truly apologize to you guys because I did not get an opportunity to put this in the commentary because they did not put the play up as a separate highlight until after the commentary was posted. And I didn't want to have to wait until they upload all of the highlights because it was far too late. It was an afternoon game at 4:35, so I wasn't going to get that highlight until 8-something p.m., and I wasn't about to do that shit. But the offensive coordinator for the Lions calls a timeout when Matthew Stafford has a situation on a 3rd and 5 with, I believe it was 2:39 left to play. He dumps the ball off. They run for a first down, and they're probably going to end the game. Arizona's out of timeouts, and you call a timeout? Matt Patricia's sitting over there. He got the pencil on his ear, the hat backwards. Like, who the hell called the timeout? Matthew Stafford confused too. What are you calling timeout for? Even if you get delayed a game, you're still expending time on the clock. Why would you call timeout and allow the defense to go and regroup? That's stupid. Use your common sense. You cost them an opportunity to close the game, and what happened? Arizona gets the ball. They got all the momentum. Kyler Murray was playing like a god in overtime in the 4th quarter. He brought them down the field. Larry Legend, Dreadlocks MVP, Hall of Famer, into the end zone, touchdown. They go for 2. They convert. They go into overtime. Bam! First possession. It looked like the divisional playoff game against the Packers a couple years back. Beautiful pass from Kyler Murray. Launched it down the field. Larry Fitzgerald's there. They find themselves in the red zone, and then they kind of got screwed over by the refs on 2nd down because Kyler Murray was scrambling towards his right. He went out of bounds at about the 3-yard line. He got hit. Should have been a personal foul, a call, unnecessary roughness, but he didn't get it. It was kind of ticky-tacky, but I would have threw the flag. They converted the field goal. The Lions went down the field. Marvin Jones, sensational catch. Prater kicked it through the uprights, and then it ended in a tie. You don't want to see ties. I don't know where I want to put ties on the commentary. Hell, if I'm a coach, I don't like ties. I'd rather be a winner or a loser. But I guess none of them lost. So, good job to Arizona for coming back. For the Lions, you should be ashamed of yourself. Especially their OC. Because you cost them. You truly did cost them. Matthew Stafford played his ass off only to have a tie and like that. And everybody's going to point the finger at Stafford. You know how it works. Everybody points the finger at Stafford in Detroit when they really shouldn't. Then the Cowboys and the Giants, the Cowboys look absolutely magnificent. We got boys, we got Dick, we got the Amari Cooper, Nathan Witten, Brandon Ace, Jalen Smith, DeMarcus Lawrence, Byron Jones, Skip Bayless, Torrey Aikman on commentary, Skip Bayless the analyst, Michael Irvin the analyst, Jerry Jones in the skybox. We did, boys. We go into the Super Bowl. Boy, they went out there. They looked absolutely magnificent. From top to bottom, all 3 aspects of the game looked perfect. Perfect. The Giants came down the field. They scored. Everybody was like, wait a minute. Maybe Eli Manning's not going to give up his Giants over. And that was it. Dak played beautiful. Beautiful. He just played himself into the contract. A lot of people told me maybe this conspiracy. Maybe the Giants play down so they can get paid and then they go for real these next time. Don't do that. Cowboys went out there and they whooped that ass. All right, they whooped that ass. Nothing else has to really be said. And might I add, Randall Cobb played very well, and he's going to look like he's going to be a force for this Cowboys team, especially in the slot. Dak likes to dink and dak, as they say, and Randall Cobb is a great person to dink and dak too. So I love the way the Cowboys look for the Giants. Saquon Barkley's the offense. I'm not sure what they're going to do with the quarterback situation. I still say start Eli Manning right now, because he did not really look too bad. The offensive line ain't really do him too much favors, and he don't really have too much playmakers outside of Saquon. And here's an issue. Why the hell did you stop handing the ball to Saquon Barkley when it was tied up? Why did you stop handing the ball to Saquon Barkley throughout the first half? What was the purpose of that? The Giants the whole organization really needs to be looking themselves in the mirror. Give the ball to Saquon. Give it to Saquon. Give the ball to Saquon Barkley. But good W for the Cowboys. Next, Tampa and the 49ers. Jameis Winston, what are you doing? Through 2 pick sixes. Tampa actually looked like they could have walked away with this W, because the 49ers offense really was not looking that great. Garoppolo only had that one great pass to Richie James, but outside of that, he didn't really do too much. All right, he was somewhat still struggling. Jameis looked all right, because even the pick 6 to Sherman, I understood. It's all right, you bounce back from that. But the pick 6 at the end of the game, what are you doing? It's third down or fourth down. I believe it was third down. You're throwing off your back foot. Nobody's there. Don't take the sack. But good Lord, throw the ball away. You got the arm strength. This man has 44, 45 interceptions since he entered the league. He's at the top. Nobody's near. What is wrong with you, man? Come on. This is your last opportunity, because if Jameis don't get it done this year, he's going to be a backup for the rest of his career, or he's done. You about to be Byron Leftwich, bro. Get your head out your ass. But the 49ers defense, beautiful. I like the way they played. Although it's Tampa, I still like the way they played. 49ers fans, you should feel as though we got something brewing. As Marty Schottenheimer once said, there's a gleam, gentlemen. There's a gleam. So there is hope. Next, the Houston Texans and New Orleans Saints, where we had the Saints win 30-28. This was a sensational Monday Night Football game. I truly enjoyed the back and forth. Drew Brees made a very big mental error in the first half when it was in the red zone. He threw the end zone to Whitney Merciless. He doesn't usually do that, the way that he threw the ball, but they bounced back. I'll say this much, the suplex from DeAndre Hopkins, wow, that was interesting. But offensively, both teams looked very nice. Going down the stretch, the dreadlock powers of DeAndre Hopkins, 2 touchdowns. You had Will Fuller mossing Eli Apple. The offensive line for the Texans is the game, though, because they could not block for Deshaun Watson. He ran for a 20-yard touchdown, too. But that's ultimately what cost him the game, because the Saints got 6 sacks on Deshaun Watson. Had they been able to protect for him, I think they probably would have been able to walk away with the W. But I'll say this much. You had the roughing the kicker call. When they hit Fairbairn, I didn't really like it, but he did land on the leg. So what else? What are you going to do? When you're already in the air, you can't help where you land. Try to contort your body, but if you can, then the government probably going to call you in and wonder if you're a Saiyan. So whatever the case was, they got an opportunity to kick that field goal again and take the lead, but then Houston changed their defense. They completely went to prevent, and that's what cost you. Play the same defense you've been playing. Don't give up chunk yards, because a 58-yard field goal clearly is makeable for Will Lutz. And that's exactly what happened. The Houston Texans the defensive coordinator cost them that game, because when they went up 28-27, they had an opportunity to just run the same defense you've been running. But no, we're going to go and play the prevent. You're going to give up a ton of yards. And I'll say this much. J.J. Watt, you ain't really show up too much last night, man. More importantly, I didn't even know if you got off the bus, got off the plane. You got to play better. You got to play better, because I know you're capable of it. Then the Denver Broncos and the Oakland Raiders. The Gruden Grinders went out there and took care of business, man. I like the way Joshua Jacobs runs on the ground. I love the way the man runs on the ground. Derek Carr looked like a god. He started out, 17 for 18? He ended the game 22 for 25 or 22 for 26. Who needs AB? They were slinging the ball all over the place. I love the way that it looked for Denver. They got to get their offense going, man. Phillip Lindsay ain't do too much on the ground. Royce Freeman and him split carries. I thought Phillip Lindsay was this Pro Bowl back, which he was last year. Give him the rock. Now, Freeman got some good runs under his belt, but good Lord, man. You got a Pro Bowler back there. Get him the ball. Get him the ball in the slot. I saw what Joe Flacco was trying to do, stretch the ball down the field. I know that deep ball to Emmanuel Sanders is coming, and finally they was able to get it done, but he should have had more than 5 catches. But I did like the way that Cortland Sutton looked as well. So you might have yourself a little bit of an offense going for the Denver Broncos. But it just wasn't enough. The defense for the Raiders played way better than I expected. They got it done. Regardless of whether AB was there or not, they was able to win. I initially picked them to win anyway because I thought AB would be there. When AB was gone, a lot of people said, "Are you going to switch your your pick?" I said, "No, I'm still rolling with them to win." And ultimately, that's what happened. And last but not least, Pittsburgh taking on New England 33-3. Camera's about to cut off. I'm coming back. I'm so happy the camera cut off right before I got into Pittsburgh and New England because I need to make sure this is by its goddamn self because I got a 30-minute time limit on this goddamn rant for this game, okay? First and foremost, Tom Brady had all the time in the world. TJ Watt was the only person who was out there bringing pressure. Stephon Tuitt, this man's supposed to be somebody who's a borderline Pro Bowler. He only showed up on about 4 different plays. Cameron Hayward, where were you? Where the hell was Ironhead? I didn't see it. Bud Dupree got locked up by a goddamn second-year left tackle out of Georgia who's playing his very first, NFL game. Now, I'll say this much. That man was absolutely sensational. His technique, he's probably going to be an all-pro if he continues to play the way that he was playing. That was magnificent. But Bud Dupree, you're a 5-year player. You got to play better than that. The secondary for the New England Patriots completely locked down everybody on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I'll say this much. Juju Smith-Schuster, he got the #1 receiver, treatment. So he wasn't going to go out there and be open. He wasn't going to get too much. He got a couple of good passes on Stephon Gilmore. But for the most part, Gilmore did his job, and you expected to see that happen. The McCourties were able to lock down any sort of deep passes. James Washington ran about 10 different deep routes. Of the deep routes, he caught only 1. And 2 were overthrown by Big Ben. 1 ended up being intercepted. The other ones was great technique by the defensive backs. They need to get on the same page. But my issue's not with them. When we're talking about receivers, Dante Moncrief, this man needs to be out of shoulder pads ASAP. Get him out of the game. You dropped about 3 different passes, and then the pass on the goal line. He's looking over his inside shoulder when the pass is coming outside. And if you look at the replay, it's a touchdown. You gotta catch that. More importantly, the one before that they threw to James Washington when he finally beat Jason McCourty, that could have been a touchdown, but he didn't keep his balance. Okay? Now, on the ground, they didn't even try to run the football with James Conner. They didn't even try to run the football with James Conner. More importantly, Vance McDonald ain't getting no targets until like the 4th quarter. What was the offensive game plan? Now, I understand when you say they didn't go out there and execute, which is absolutely true. But what was the game plan? It was extremely conservative. You found so many 3rd and short or 4th and short situations, they didn't go for it. Now, if I'm at my own 35, it's 4th and inches. I'm not going to go for it because if the chance that I don't get it, I'm giving Tom Brady the football back at the 35. But if I'm down by 20 points, I'm going for it every single time. What is a punter? I don't know. We cut him during halftime. He's not on the field. I'm trying to get it all. The Patriots, they look sensational. Josh Gordon broke every single tackle that came his way. He caught the ball and they just bounced the hell right off. I don't know if he had some sort of he had mirror force on the inside of his pads. He had the track cards all over him because nobody was able to bring him down. Philip Dorsett looked like a god. He was discount Chris Hogan from the AFC Championship, wide open. Nobody knew where the hell this man was. All the Negro receivers, affirmative action on the damn defense, or affirmative action for the receiving corps in New England. Bunch of these black guys just coming in, and AB's coming back next week. Grunt probably going to return to week 8 or week 10, whatever the case is going to be. He might just be back. He's slimmed down. The Patriots looking like they're going to kill everybody, but every team can be beat. But from where we stand right now, they are the best team in the league, and it's not even close. It is not even close. Both sides of the ball look sensational, and don't let their special teams start get going. But nonetheless, sensational game from New England. Pittsburgh, they played like absolute trash. They have got to regroup. But that has been week 1. Post-game analysis show, all right? It's Tuesday night. I got to go to MSG. I got to get to Madison Square Garden because it's Friday Night SmackDown. I said Friday Night SmackDown. It's Tuesday. It's SmackDown Live. I got to head over there and go check that out. It's about 6-something o'clock right now. I got to leave right now. But nonetheless, if you liked it, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. To every team that won, congratulations, and I wish you the best of luck going into week 2. For every team that lost, regroup and come back better in week 2. I have been the host of the show, the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the Chiseled Adonis. You enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and we're gonna make sure we do our predictions for week 2 tomorrow afternoon. So stay tuned for that. Back to the Shadow Realm I go.